Hey everybody, it's Mr. Paul Adams and welcome to You Country, the country music show that's all about you. Kinda. Today we're talking to a UK country artist all the way from Bristol. I first discovered her music on TikTok and I've been a follower ever since. Will you please welcome Rhiannon Paige? Hello Rhiannon.
Hello.
How are you doing on this cold,
I'm
cold winter morning?
I'm good. I'm like resenting putting the heating on today because we had it on so much yesterday. I'm so scared that my bill is going to be too much.
I kind of came to the decision that I'm just going to do it and then worry about it
Yeah.
next year. I'll worry about it in the next cost of living crisis. We'll sort it out then.
Thing is, I like put it on for like an hour, and then literally within an hour, because I've got so many windows, it's just like freezing cold again, and I'm just like, it's a constant cycle.
I'm quite lucky. I'm in a block of flats, so I'm in the middle, and everybody's got their heating on, so I just turn it off. But now I've got this old cat, so I have to turn the heating on maximum, and it's killing me. But there we go. Anyway, we digress. Welcome to You Country, the country music show that's all about you. Kinda. What we're going to do is just going to fire some questions at you, just have a bit of a chat, play some music. If you're listening to Spotify, you'll be able to hear it. If you're on YouTube, you won't be able to, but you will be able to follow Rhiannon's music on there anyway. So the question: how did you get your start in music? What made you a musician?
So basically, I started to teach myself how to play guitar from around the age of like 12 or so, just from watching YouTube. Now, I was born 70% loss of hearing both my ears. Had grommets, they didn't work. And then a lot of kids are born like it, but mine didn't work. I have skin grafts down in both my ears. And I think just like when I first started out, I was literally tone deaf, and my parents will vouch for that. Like I couldn't sing, but I literally just kept going with it. Like I'd never had a singing lesson. And that's why when people say to me, like, oh, like you can't teach yourself how to sing, I'm like, that's absolute lie. As long as you keep going with it and you just like, I guess, got a good ear for it, I guess. You can definitely teach yourself because I literally came from nothing. And yeah, then I did study music at college for 2 years and then went on to go to drama school, which is a whole nother story. But then I left uni and was like, right, I'm just going to try this doing music full time. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since.
Well, thankfully you have. So yeah, I mean, I completely appreciate what you're saying about the teaching yourself to sing. I spent about 8 hours, 9 hours a day, 7 days a week in my bedroom. I had an old karaoke machine back in the 90s, and it was
Yeah.
like a record button on it from as an Alba from Argos, and so I just kept playing stuff, recording it, playing stuff, recording back, listen back, and so you can teach yourself to sing. So well done you for getting past that as well. So why country? Why did you choose country? What was it? What was the appeal?
I think so. Growing up, my dad is very into rock music. So I grew up around rock music, and then it kind of turned into like Southern rock. And then when I was kind of old enough to like have my own Spotify account, I just like came across people like the Civil Wars,
Usually the ones that
and
start, yeah.
yeah, like Ward Thomas as well. And I just like got a real feel for their sort of style of music. And then it just led me down the kind of the American countryside. Um, and I just loved it so much. And I wanted to kind of bring my own feel to it. Because obviously being from the UK, I feel like there's a lot of people that do a country actually. It's a surprising amount of people. But a lot of people do tend to sway towards the American side of country. And I feel like there is kind of a bracket there for UK country. It's just not quite been found yet. Um, so that's what I try to do when writing my music. Keep it to UK country, but so that it's kind of known that it has got that country edge to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to your stuff, but you're talking about the nitty gritty of day to day life, and
Yeah.
some of your stuff is wow, okay. I'm guessing that you've. I'm not going to ask you too much about it, but I'm guessing you've written from personal experience,
Yeah, definitely.
and that definitely comes through. I just hope that whatever was ailing you at the time has been sorted because they are quite powerful, those songs. Talking of those songs, I've asked you to choose 3 songs for the Spotify version of this podcast. So we're gonna hit the first one now. So what is it?
Yeah.
What's it about? And then you can introduce it.
So my first track I've asked you to play is All With You. This is the first one that I released of my EP that was released back in July now. And this one basically talks about, so for the first time in my life, like I am in a relationship with a female. And this kind of just talks about the first time meeting and the emotions that I felt. And this is a happy one, so you'll be glad to know.
Okay, and what's it called again?
It's called All With You.
There we go. All With You by Rhiannon Paige coming up on Spotify, and we'll see you in a second. So there you go. That was All With You by Rhiannon Paige, and we're talking to Rhiannon Paige here on You Country. So we were just literally just before we went to the song, you mentioned that you're now in a relationship with a lady. So I'm noticing more and more of that in country. Do you think that's a big thing that's growing now? That being able to, yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like when I first started out, I didn't know of anyone necessarily, and now I feel like it is a massive thing that's coming out. And actually, like a lot more, I've kind of see a lot more female on female all the time now. Like, so even on TikTok, I'm like, oh wow, you're a country artist and you're in the same situation as me. So yeah, it is super lovely because I think it's one of those genres, like where it's, I don't know if I can go into this, but say like where it's originated from isn't necessarily the most understanding of it. But I just think, I'm hoping that within like time, it's just going to become like the norm, like especially in those sort of areas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Texas originally, and I know they've got more of an open mind than they're given credit for. There are still some that are very, very strong in their opinion, which there are in every country. But as American Aquarium say, there is a better South. So we can live with that, and we won't go on too much on that because I don't want to alienate everybody. So going back to about country, what is your favourite thing about performing in country music? What's the best part of country?
I think like people always say it's like 3 chords and the truth, and it is so true. Like I also love the community around it. Like I am from Bristol, and it's not a massive amount of us, but there is a really nice like selection of us, and it's really supportive is what I've noticed. And I've met some amazing people, like I was saying, like about like TikTok and stuff, like the amount of people I've met from like up north, down south, and like we keep in contact like so often. And it's just like a really nice community, I feel like, which sometimes music can be the opposite to that. So it's nice to be in that.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It is growing. I mean, when I started in country in the UK, I always avoided it. Being from Texas, I kind of avoided country, and I was warned to avoid country when I started music. But it started out quite tricky. There is a lot of sort of cutthroatedness, if you like, if that's even a word. But now I find that when I went to Nashville, we were finding everybody was trying to do the same thing, but they were all helping each other. And I find now that we're starting to see a little bit of that over here now with all these different country communities. There are some which are a bit toxic. We won't mention who they are, as in the communities, not the people. But yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely getting there. TikTok, it's going really well for you, isn't it? I mean, that's how I saw you. Well, I mean, you're always on my For You page, so I saw you before we got into contact. So,
oh, nice. Glad about that. TikTok is such a funny thing. Like, it's so hard, like, and it's so demoralizing at the same time. But it's like I posted, not that it's massive, but for an independent artist, like I posted a video up the other day, which I wasn't like a massive fan of. So I was just like posted it up because I hadn't posted in quite a while. And it did better than like most of them. And I think you literally just have to take whatever feelings away from it. And then in actual fact, that's when you actually achieve a bit more, I feel like. So yeah, it is a funny one. But once you've cracked it, you've cracked it. But I'm still yet kind of get there.
For me, every time I post music, I might get a couple of 100 views or something like that. I post something stupid, like using a cheese grater as a tea strainer, and it's like amazing. So
Yeah.
I can't get TikTok. But hey, it brings us more viewers. So what are we thinking? Before we go to your second song, I've got another question for you because it's that time of year at the moment. It's Spotify Unwrapped.
Yes.
What do you think? Honest opinion, there's so much going on good and bad with Spotify Unwrapped. I'm not actually going to post my figures for.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on it?
I think it's a really nice way to see what you've achieved, but I think, like, I saw a post this morning of someone sharing something basically saying, like, is that time of year again when everyone's sharing, and some people have obviously done like a bit better than others, but at the same time, like, I don't think anyone's done better than anyone. Like, everyone's done amazing at what they've done. Like, my numbers aren't massive, but at the same time they're big for me, and I think that's important. You have to remember that everyone's on their own journey. And even like I said this to my partner, like, at least once a month I get like a down patch where I'm like, oh God, like, I'm not doing well, and I get really down about it and put myself down at most. And then I kind of get myself out of it. And I think, look, like, it doesn't actually matter. Like, music, there is no age limit. And I think it's easy to look at people, say, like, you've got like Billie Eilish, Olivia Rodrigo, and they're all really young. But then also at the same time, they come from a background where they've been able to have that push up, and
Been
it
a lot of
literally,
money behind them as well.
and money is a massive factor in music. And I think as long as I keep enjoying it, that's all that really matters. And if one day it happens amazing. But as long as I know that I've never given up, I think that's all that really matters.
Yeah, no, totally agree with you. I think that I mean, there was a time when I was like, oh, figures matter, figures matter, figures matter. But we've seen the figures don't actually matter, because there are people that are doing really, really, really well, and they have so many low figures. It's like, how is that possible? And then there's people that aren't doing so well but have these massive amounts of numbers. So I don't think it matters. But anyway, that's very political. We probably should move on from that. So, second song.
So my next song is Playing Games, which is the name of my actual EP. This one is quite a deep storyline to it. Without going into like too much detail, I was in a relationship where my partner had a few drug issues. And in that time, like, you think like you're trying so much to help that person, but it's almost like until they can really learn to help themselves, you're never going to get through to them. And it's kind of, even though it's like an angry song, it is kind of just like hoping that one day, like, you will sort yourself out. Not for us like to be back together, but like that you will sort yourself out for you, because like it just needs to happen. And it's really sad, but unfortunately a lot of people suffer. And I wanted to write a song because when I was recording it in the studio, the guys were saying to me, they were like, there isn't much country that delves quite this deep into a topic, and it will probably be the one that people talk about the most, in the sense that it's such a big topic. And it's true, but I like the fact that I can write a song that does describe it in the way that it does, I suppose. So yeah.
Well, good. I've listened to it. I really enjoyed it. Not because of the content, but because of you get it. Anyway, this is I've forgotten the name of the song now. You introduced Playing Games by Rhiannon Paige, and when we come back, it's time for the big quiz. There you go. That was Playing Games by Rhiannon Paige, and it's time now to find out, what do they know? So, Rhiannon, you are sitting in our quiz booth. You can't see it right now, but you will when you look at Spotify. It's always Christmassy, even before Christmas. And this quiz is going very well at the moment. We have a winner who will not be budged from the top spot. That's James Vince of Live in the Living Room. He scored a massive 9 points, and we just can't seem to shake him off. But we're hoping that you could be the person to do that today. What we're going to do is I'm going to throw some questions at you. We've got 2 minutes to get those questions done, and we'll see what your score is. Okay, so according to George, what topping do explorers put on ice cream? Is it marshmallows, strawberries, coconut, or chocolate?
Coconut.
We'll find out the answer in a second. What is George and Mary's song? Is it Bison Boys, Buffalo Gals, Horsewomen? There we go. So what does Sam Wainwright make? So I'll do that again. What does Sam Wainwright make? Is it boots, plastic, mince pies, or radiators?
Boots? I don't know.
Okay, we'll move on from that. I'll let you know the answers in a bit. Which character loses $8,000? Is it George, Zuzu, Mr. Potter, or Uncle Billy?
Uncle Billy.
Okay. What does AS2 stand for? Is it Angel Standard to Stroke, Angel Second Class, Appointments Start at 2 p.m, or Angel Signature? Sorry?
Angel Second Class.
Okay. How does Clarence like his mulled wine? Heavy on the cinnamon and light on the cloves, heavy on the cloves and with the satsuma, freezing cold and full of bees, or heavy on the nutmeg, light on the cinnamon?
The first one, cinnamon.
Okay. The story of It's a Wonderful Life, it was based on a greetings card. True or false?
False.
Okay. What sound means that an angel has earned their wings? A dog barking.
Sorry.
Which character is an angel? Is it Franklin, Clarence, Mr. Potter, or George?
Clarence.
Okay, we've only got 2 questions left in this quiz. Bert is a florist. True or false?
I've lost you.
Oh, sorry. Bert is a florist. True or false?
False.
Okay. And when was the movie made? 1901, 1946, 1958, or 2001?
1940.
46. Is that what you're saying there?
Maybe.
Okay, Rhiannon.
Yes.
For the It's a Wonderful Life quiz, James scored 9. He's at the top of our leaderboard. You scored 9 points.
Did I?
Equal to James in the top spot. So we'll just go through those questions again. So according to George, the topping on ice cream was coconut. Buffalo Gals was their song. Sam Wainwright made plastics. It was Uncle Billy that lost all the money. Angel Second Class was what AS2 stands for. Clarence liked his mulled wine, exactly like you said, heavy on the cinnamon and light on the cloves. It's actually true that it was a story from a greetings card. I'm going to have to look that up because I didn't know that.
As soon as I said it, I kind of thought, nah, I've got that wrong.
The sound made that gets an angel his wings is a bell ringing. Clarence was the name of the angel, as you said. Bert wasn't a florist. Can you remember what Bert was?
Like chemist.
I think Bert was the police officer, I think.
Oh, sorry. Good job I got it because I was thinking of the guy in the shop.
When was the movie made? That was 1946. I think the guy in the shop was Mr. Grover. The one that smacks his ear, is that the one you mean?
Yeah.
Or Gower. Mr. Gower.
Something.
Mr. Gower. That's
Mr.
it.
Gower.
It was Mr. Gower. There we go.
What was the last question?
The last question. What? The last question we didn't answer?
Yeah.
It would have been, it's a picture, so it's like, who is the old man who's the bad guy in the film?
Oh, Potter.
Yeah. Before we go, we'll finish off with your third song of choice. But what is next for Rhiannon Paige for the rest of this year and 2024?
So the rest of this year, kind of keeping it because Christmas is a busy period. Not many people will be focusing as much on like the music side of things because they've got so much else going on. But going into the new year, January, I might have another release planned. And then next year, my plan is to do a tour with a few different people. So that is going to be in the makings.
Okay, that's something I might talk to you about separately. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on the show. Before we go to your final song, 2 more important questions. What are your socials so that people can find you?
So my Instagram is Rhiannon Paige _music. That's the same for TikTok also. And then everything else, you'll find me under Rhiannon Paige. Just remember to put the I in Paige, because a lot of people think I'm turning the page, but I'm not.
Metaphorically turning the page, but yeah. And the final question, which is the most important question of all. Which question do you wish I'd have asked that I didn't ask you?
Oh, that's big. Well, you went on to ask me what my plans are for next year, so you did cover that one. Until that point, it would have been that. Possibly like, who do I listen to?
That was on my list, actually.
Inspiration.
Who are your inspirations? Yeah, I've got that on my list, and I didn't ask that, so thank you for reminding me.
I'd definitely say Casey Musgraves is up there, of course. But also, I love like the older style, so like Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton. They're always like a go-to. But yeah, Casey Musgraves on top. And then if I'm talking like English, like Ward Thomas, The Shires, those kind of ones.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. Sorry about all the technical hitches and all the animal hitches as well. So yeah, that's it from Rhiannon Paige on You Country. Hopefully you'll come back to defend your joint place with James at some point, and we'll sort out some quizzes then as well. Good luck with everything. Good luck with the tour, and 2024. What is your final song before we go?
So this is the first one that I released. This one's called Honky Tonk. Now, I wrote this one after watching an amazing film called Wild Rose with Jessie Buckley in it. If you haven't watched it, you definitely should. And it just inspired me so much that I literally went up into my bedroom, searched up as many different country words as I could to fit into a song. And this is exactly what came out.
There we go. We're going to finish the show off with Honky Tonk by Rhiannon Paige. Once again, thanks for coming on. And
Thank you.
And have a great happy Christmas and New Year. Great happy Christmas and New Year. Yeah. So there we go, ladies and gents. That was Rhiannon Paige here on You Country, the country music show that's all about you. Kinda. Well done to Rhiannon for getting that score of 9. Not quite budging James off that top spot, but it is a joint place, first place. So well done to you. James, they're coming for you. They're going to get you one of these days. If you want to be a guest on You Country, all you have to do is drop me an email at podcast@mrpauladams.co.uk. It's podcast@mrpauladams.co.uk. You don't have to be a country artist. You can be an engineer, a stagehand, a manager, or even a fan. It does not matter. Just drop me that email. Once again, podcast@mrpauladams.co.uk. And until next time, we'll see you next Tuesday.